I'm a retired HR guy. In fact, most of my career was spent not only in local government, but county government. In fact, 10 years of it was spent right here as the HR director in Clark County. In fact, if memory serves, I wrote the policy on when a position can be filled without a competitive selection process. HR people get to see lots of creative maneuvers to get a certain person placed in a certain job, or removed from a certain job, or paid a certain amount. Sometimes we lie down on the tracks or throw ourselves on the grenade or other sacrificial acts in furtherance of the merit principle and the policy manual. Sometimes we are powerless to stop it, especially when there's an elected official requesting an exemption. So, in my profession, you get to see all sorts of bad stuff. And very little of it makes the local paper or the evening news, but this one sure did. Boy, did it ever. And I have to say, after 30 years of promoting competitive and open selection processes, seeing this many people care this much about one that was not posted or open or competitive is, well, it's just career redeeming, let me tell you. Based on various statements, I'm guessing that pointing out how blatantly wrong this is not going to produce any kind of epiphany or mea culpa or reversal. But while I have the mic, I'd like to break down some of the amazing subcomponents of this little personnel decision. The director of the environmental services, like other appointed department heads, reports to the county administrator. Except in Portland, department heads all over the country report to the chief administrative officer. So what if I read the paper is more or less true, we have a double end run here, getting Mr. Gray out of his position and appointing his replacement. Secondly, it seems fairly accepted that no part of Mr. Gray's job performance was below standard, only that he was attempting to resolve a performance issue laid lower in his organization that happened to adversely affect somebody who was politically well-connected. Ironically, this is not the first time I've seen decisions like that, but I'm not sure I've seen those two pulled off together. That said, it might have gotten away with little notice except for actions 3 and 5, that is 3, offering the job without posting it, 4, to someone who does not meet the minimum qualifications, and 5, offering it to a political ally who happens to have a reputation for opposing environmental causes. So I guess I'm here tonight because pulling off a single personnel action with all 5 of these failings is so aggressive and so in the face of how any organization should select and manage its human resources. I found a statement on the website of a local company. Among other things, it said, the organization will only accept resumes and applications for posted positions. It said the company prizes high character. And it said the company will unceasingly search for and invite the brightest individuals to join our uncommon team of talented, highly skilled, and appreciated people. Can you please summarize, sir? It makes me wonder whether Senator Benton would have made the cut for a job at U.S. Digital.
April 2nd, and I quote, which is why I'm reading this. Integrity is one of those things that I will not violate. Honesty, openness, transparency, and integrity are non-negotiable. You also said, 3 months since I have been on board here, I have been very careful to not rush full speed ahead, but to be patient and to learn and get to know the staff and build relationships and make sure we know the costs of things, the relative priority of things, and to make sure we do not invite unintended consequences. So that was said at the Parks hearing that I spoke at. I'm getting a little bit tired of continuing to speak and saying the same thing and having to say the same thing. I, like was just mentioned, have no false hope that Benton's hiring will be reversed. I have no intention that Milky is going to come out and really acknowledge what happened with Kevin Gray and the treatment with that. I don't have any false pretenses on that. However, I've come and I've heard you tell me, Medora, over and over that tonight you said you are biased, but you do listen. However, we come and we say things, we speak, and yet this many people come and you get people at the parks saying things, and yet nothing changes. It's the same thing. It's the same thing over and over. So, yet again, I am asking you about what you say versus what your actions show. You are correct that we are all getting to know you and see what you are about. And when I hear over and over comments like this where you tell us one thing, then do another, I have a hard time believing your words. You may argue that you are acting with integrity, but I would argue the opposite. When I look at the Benton hiring, I do not see honesty, openness, and integrity. If there had been complete honesty and openness, then Commissioner Stewart, and correct me if I'm wrong, would have known in advance of the board session and would not have been blindsided. When looking at the Benton hiring, I do not see openness in an appointment process that was behind closed doors and not open to others to apply. When I look at the Benton hiring, I do not see patience in taking the time to make sure it is done right so as to not invite unintended consequences. The hiring was done very fast and without a standard hiring process. I do not call this taking your time. It's embarrassing to be a citizen of Clark County right now. I have been involved in Clark County politics and nonprofits and worked for Clark County for years. And it is embarrassing. It is embarrassing to see how Kevin Gray was treated. It is embarrassing to see that you don't have the decency to do job creation and allow people to actually apply for a job. That's job creation. In my mind, it is non-negotiable, Commissioner Medor, that the actions, and Milky, that the actions of not having an open hiring process and how Kevin Gray was treated was not integrous. Thank you.
I think probably all the commissioners recognize what the handout is. It's a copy of the 10 Commandments. And you know, here recently, the demeanor in the commission meetings have not been what I consider being very Christian-like with what's been going on, regardless of what people say, the backdoor conversations, that stuff been reported in the county newspaper, and all the rest of it. And I am appalled the fact that you let go a veteran of the military that went through the academy, that was qualified to be the director of the environmental services, and hire somebody that is not qualified to be the director of environmental services for Clark County. And I would say to you, and I don't know for sure, but I think the cook at Kusan and Larry's would probably be more qualified to be the director of Senator Benton is. And I know he's personal friends of Tom's, and that they're trying to make a job for the guy, but he's been to the legislature for a long period of time. David, like I say, I'm concerned and appalled at the fact again. I'm going to read this sign, past, promising future. I think you can take that promising future off of there after listening to the comments here today. And if Senator Benton's record is any indication of the legislator on environmental issues, you might be able to change that to Bangladesh up there in about 6 months to a year. So I'm just concerned as to what's going on. I'm concerned that the commissioners are taking action without the full commission being there together. And it is not right what's going on in this commission. It's never been that way before. And I've always been proud as an 80-year-old, a 71-year member of this community. And I told David that in a 3-hour meeting at his shop. And I was hoping that things would be better, but maybe my hope is fading out the window. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you for my time.
Thank you, Mr. Barnes. Appreciate it. Bob Carroll, Dave Ritchie, Deborah Gottlieb, Rosalie Gottlieb, Lehman Holder. Sir.
It's always a hard act to follow, you know. I'm learning though. Bob Carroll, I'm a resident of Clark County. I've served in public service. I worked for the Portland Public Schools for 5 years. I was hired through a hiring process. I believe that the county commissioners are here to serve the public and to go through the process. I don't know if Don Benton is qualified for the job. Honestly, it doesn't appear that he is, but maybe he is. The process should have been followed. I don't believe you guys, you two, are serving the people. And you disrespected the county, you disrespected a lot of citizens here, you disrespected your chair, I think. That's my personal opinion. The process should have been followed. And, you know, now you're seeing the backlash. There's a lot of people sitting behind me that are not happy with what happened. There's some that are happy, you know, I'm sure. I think there's a lot of people out in the public that aren't here tonight that are not happy about it either. I'm sorry to see this happen. I'm sorry to see the partisanship. I'm sorry to see the I'm sorry to see the ramrodding that's going on here. And all of you guys need to work together for the good of the public. I don't see that as happening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.